Hello everyone, this is Genuine Polish, and in this video we're going to be tackling one of the most difficult farms in all of Auction, not included, the plastic Glossy Dreckos farm. So this is probably the least touched farm in the entire game, and for good reason too, because it's horribly complicated. So for starters, you want to have both a shearing station and a grooming station in this room. So it already limits your room size to 96 tiles. And in that space, you need to maximize the amount of hydrogen the Glossy Dreckos have, because that will facilitate their cell growth at 33% per cycle when they're tamed. But you also need a carbon dioxide or polluted oxygen or oxygen environment for the mealwood, which is a really difficult thing to balance in a room like this. But there's an easy workaround to that, actually. So if you notice, I have these airflow tiles here separating the carbon dioxide room and the hydrogen room. And the weird thing about airflow tiles is once they're saturated with a gas, if they're covered with water, they actually won't let another gas enter that or exchange in that area. So you can see here this carbon dioxide equalizes with the carbon dioxide next to it. These two tiles will equalize, and you can see it's actually a lower pressure than the hydrogen, but the hydrogen won't push its way down into the carbon dioxide because the airflow tiles are already containing carbon dioxide, and they want to maintain equal pressure with the tile next to it. It's kind of a weird interaction. So this seems to be the most efficient way to maximize the amount of time the Dreckos spend in the hydrogen. Alternatively, you can place farm tiles in this depression area and pressurize just the top tile of the farm area, but you would have to balance that with the hydrogen pressure. And the reason I prefer the air tile method is because it's easier to not have to worry about balancing the pressures exactly, and this room really helps that. And you can actually add gas to these rooms separately if something gets out of balance, which is really nice. So in this room, I like to have a loop because it seems to maximize the amount of time that the Dreckos will spend in hydrogen, because they can be on either the top or the bottom of the loop. And because this room has two entrances to it, one via the loop and one via the main chamber, anywhere the Dreckos are at, they'll actually come to the groomer pretty quickly when she calls. I like to use a T water airlock for this. Already your duplicates are going to be in atmosphere suits so that they don't disrupt the pressure in this environment, but it's nice to know that your water airlock isn't going to break because you mismanage your gases or anything like that. So I would definitely recommend the T water airlock for this. And then of course, if you want automation to get the plastic out of there faster, or to move it to wherever you store your building materials, you can put an auto sweeper and a conveyor loader right next to the shearing station. The main flaw with this setup is that sometimes the Dreckos will poop phosphorite in the loop and it's really inaccessible. Generally, they poop right after they eat, so I'm not sure exactly how these ended up down here, but as you can see, apparently it does happen occasionally. But this farm is to maximize the plastic output of the Dreckos, not the phosphorite. Alright, so now we're going to look at the construction of this configuration. So here is a slightly different configuration with no automation, and it's actually the most space efficient way to organize this room from what I can tell. So first, you'll need a liquid vent to pump water into this room. All these window tiles represent temporary tiles. Then you'll need a gas vent to pump hydrogen into the main chamber, and a carbon dioxide vent to pump carbon dioxide into the lower chamber. And of course, you'll need a shearing station, which needs a grooming station to be activated, which again limits your room size to 96 tiles. So you want to get as close to that as possible. Again, it's T water airlock. Alright, so what you want to do is you want to have a single packet of water in a pipe, 10 kilograms, and if you can manage it, less. And then the easiest way to isolate 10 kilograms is to have a liquid valve, shut it off, and then destroy the pipe immediately behind it, so you'll have 10 kilograms in the liquid pipe that's connected to the valve. You'll need a duplicate to operate it, but go ahead and open the valve, and then we can kill that duplicate. Alright, so here's where it gets messy. You'll want to flood this main chamber, but it's not as simple as just mopping it up and leaving water on top of the airflow tiles. What you'll want to do is have a duplicate destroy these temporary tiles that we have here. Make sure to only delete the tiles I have selected, because if you delete the tiles over the loops and you drop water into the loops, then it can block the entire chamber and Dreckos won't want to pass through it, or hydrogen won't be able to pass through it, and it'll be that many less tiles that you'll have for the Dreckos to be in hydrogen. So only delete these temporary tiles that I have selected here. And I forgot to mention, make sure your duplicate is in an Atmos suit the entire time so that he doesn't throw up or use the bathroom or expel carbon dioxide. Alright, so now that you have all those temporary tiles deleted, what you'll want to do is you'll want the duplicate to mop up in between the tiles, and make sure to only select in between the tiles and not on top of the airflow tiles, because if you do, then you'll have to restart this entire process over. And alternatively, you could use a bottle emptier, but it is a little bit inconvenient. I just find that using a liquid vent and doing the whole room at once is the easier option. So make sure to remove all the liquid in the entire room besides the airlock and of course the liquid on top of the airflow tiles. Alright, so now that you have those temporary tiles removed, you're going to want to actually plug in more tiles in between the airflow tiles. The reason why you have to do it this way is because if you just flood the chamber and then put water on top of it and try to mop up these empty tiles, it's going to mop up the airflow tiles as well. I know it's a bit arduous, but it's just what you have to do for this system. So once you have a sufficient amount of carbon dioxide, it doesn't really matter specifically how much. You just want to make sure that these airflow tiles are saturated and that it's not leaking into the upper chamber, which would mean that one of your tiles doesn't have water on it. From there, you can actually just shut off your carbon dioxide pump because all you need is greater than 100 grams per tile. Now go ahead and pump in your hydrogen into the main chamber and remove those temporary window tiles if you haven't already, the ones for the loop and the ones for the platform here. The significance of this platform here is that the Dreckos actually can't turn around on one tiles and jump to the other wall, so you need to give them an area to get onto here than to jump across so that they can get to food as fast as possible, as fast as they need it. So it looks like we're nearing pressurization. So you'll want to get both rooms to about 1,000 grams. It's not super important that you do, but you want to get them close to the same pressure, and you'll want them to be completely pressurized before you start planting your mealwood and introducing Dreckos. So now the gases in both chambers are mostly stagnant, you can remove these tiles, and you'll see that the carbon dioxide will flow up to the adjacent airflow tiles as long as they're saturated with carbon dioxide. And even though this hydrogen has a higher density, it's not going to move down into the carbon dioxide tiles. Normally, the gases would mix until there was an equal amount of pressure per tile up here and the same equal pressure per tile down here for the opposite gas. Now you can plant your mealwood. And you can see with mealwood, because the base is in the carbon dioxide, it'll grow up into the hydrogen. And this is the best way to maximize the amount of hydrogen in your Drecko farm. From there, all you need to do is introduce your Dreckos. So there's a couple of ways you can do this. You can have a critter drop off. I like to temporarily place it here because it's just the most accessible area. That's not going to conflict with the amount of tiles in your room. Or you could do a conveyor chute and deliver eggs directly into this room. You can modify this room a little bit to put an incubator in there if you prefer, or you could have a separate incubation room like this, where an auto sweeper sweeps up the eggs and delivers it to your farm. So some things to note about this room. They don't need hydrogen in this room because all they're trying to do is keep their reproduction at maximum. You don't exactly need a grooming station either if you prefer to keep them wild. A cool way to prevent overcrowding or cramped room conditions is by placing a water tile like this, so that it's an open room technically, but the Dreckos won't cross the water tile. So that way you could put almost an infinite amount of Dreckos in this room without overcrowding or cramping them. Alright guys, that's going to be it for this video. If you liked it, please comment, like, and subscribe. So if there's any modifications to the setup that you can think of, or if you've seen a better plastic Drecko farm anywhere on YouTube, please share the link below because I was searching for it and I could not find a lot of information on this. That's why I made this video. So if there's any tweaks you can think of, let me know, post it in the comments below, and then I will make an updated video with a new improved farm if there's a more efficient method than this. Thanks for watching.